How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to continue to talk about my Tezza build and how I went about sticking my Commodore motor in there and why I chose the Commodore motor to start with, I guess, and the mission of getting it. So we'll start with a bit of why I chose it and how I went about getting it. I chose it because I own multiple Commodores, I guess, or have owned multiple Commodores. They're a semi-strong motor and they're renowned for doing endless skids, I guess you could say. So they're not really renowned for holding heaps of boost unless you put a bit of work into them, but we'll get to that stage. As for getting it, I guess I was just scrolling through Facebook Marketplace looking for a Commodore motor, and I happened to come across one that was fairly local. So we went and checked it out. They couldn't start it, but I gave the bearings a bit of a check over and the oil a bit of a look over. It seemed alright, so I whopped it out and brought it home, and here we are, putting her in. I don't know if I can steal the audio from this bit, but if not, I'll add some pictures in so you don't just have to stare at me motor. But picking up the motor was one mission in itself. The guy told us to go there when he wasn't home. He had a massive dog. They were kinda being dodgy in the background once he did show up. Yet, like I say, the vehicle wouldn't start, so I'll insert some clips of what I've got of that. But yeah, don't just buy whatever you come across on Facebook Marketplace. So to get it to fit in the hole, I've done an AC delete out of personal choice, because I guess we ain't never hooking that up in this Toyota. And then we did the basic stab it in to see how good it was sort of going to fit and where it was going to fit. And that was a bit, it fell kind of, and the driver's side was nice and clear, nice and simple. The passenger side wasn't so clear. It was a bit of a struggle to get the selector to fit, so I'll go down underneath and I'll show you the bit of massaging I had to do to fit all of that in. But other than all, it wasn't too bad. As you can see up under here where the selector is, we've had to take a couple of swings at it with the hammer just to get everything to clear. But overall, it's not too bad at all, I don't think, and I will tidy that up when I pull the engine out at the end. Just another shot from the top angle to see the little bit of massaging I sort of had to do. Like I said, it's not overly too much at all. I think it doesn't look too bad, and that was all just to clear the actual box of the shifter. So the shifter rod had plenty of room to run down the side of the tranny. I did reshape it, but that's another story. Why I beat the tunnel to start with? Well, there's a couple of reasons, to be honest. Some really unmovable or otherwise expensive to move things like the sump and the cross member and the bell housing all played choice into why I picked that positioning. And then the rest sort of fell into line from there. Once you've sort of established the perimeters of where you want your motor to sit and how you're gonna go about making it sit where you want it to sit, picking how it sat there was pretty easy. I just put a piece of MDF underneath the sump and the cross member and lowered it all the way down. Once we had the motor roughly blocked up where we wanted it, it was pretty easy just to remove the standard Holden mounts and pull off this big thick aluminium AC mount, which is obviously on the AC side. The driver's side has a nice thin steel mount, but I just based my steel thickness off of that and locked myself up some quick metal mounts, so not too bad, with an arc welder even, because I was out of MIG at the time. Obviously I just mopped up one of those for each side, just followed the standard Holden bolt patterns off of the original mounts, extended them out a bit to fit onto the 3S GTE rubber mounts that are still in the factory subframe. So it wasn't too hard at all just to knock a couple of those up. As for these 3S GT mounts, I need to actually order some more. That's the guy who removed the motor before I got the car, just jacked them in half, and they're a bit dead. So because I've done the AC delete, the installation's quite straightforward. You will need to go through and get yourself a set of shorter bolts, as the original AC bolts are quite long and obviously won't work with a thin steel. But throwing them in there is pretty easy. Just fit straight in now. Just put one bolt in it so you guys can see. They all fit quite nicely down in there, no complaints. It is a bit of a long engine mount, but I've had the car running and it's sat on them and they're fine. I just thought I'd mention too, because someone's going to comment, the reason they're cut down and not welded to the tops like they are is for bolt access. I am not living a hard life when they're well and truly up to the job. So that's why that is like that is. I'll install both of them and I'll give you guys a look. So they're almost all the way in tight, but I thought I'd show you while I was doing it. Quite a common thing according to the internet is you lose the dipstick if you forget where you've pulled it out from, and I did. I had to try and find it on forums, and I covered it with the engine mount, so I was never going to find it. So a little tip along the way is definitely try not to lose your dipstick, or you'll be stuck in a world of where the hell does that go, and that's never fun. So now that I've got both of those in there all the way, they're looking good. I'll go ahead and show you letting it down and what my gearbox mount looks like. Let's try to let it down with one hand, probably be a speedy job. Ooh. Yep, that was speedier than I thought it was going to be. Buy tools, but hey, you win some, you lose some. I just thought I'd mention before I went underneath and showed all the gearbox mount, how glorious that is. That I actually did put a Commodore shifter into this car too, because as I was showing you the destroyed engine mounts earlier, the shifter was also destroyed. So I guess when you're in a state of I don't know how things connect sometimes, you just end up pulling things apart that you kind of shouldn't have, and they're pretty destroyed. So I actually went along and put a Commodore shifter in here. I reckon looks quite snazzy. So I'll show you a shot of that from the bottom, but it also does mean that all my linkages for my gearbox do line up, so that's another bonus towards that. I thought I'd stick the chrome back around it and show that it doesn't quite cover everything, but it looks pretty snazzy. Not too bad. God, my camera's blurry. That's disgusting. So now I'll climb underneath and I'll show everyone my gearbox mount, my half-done gearbox mount. It was quite easy to make a mount up. I just copied the Toyota one, copied the Holden one, piece of pie. So we'll jump under and have a look at that. Right, so as we can see jumping underneath here, my gearbox mount's sort of only half done. I simply traced the Holden bolt pattern, traced the Toyota bolt pattern, and I've got to cut the excess away still. This is again nice thick steel, so it shouldn't bend at all. And I've currently got the original Toyota mount cut as a spacer above it, so you can see that. Just sits in there to hold it down, but I'll make some steel ones of those and tidy this up and show you guys that in a later video. Sorry about the plane that's now going overhead, but life continues. I just thought I'd also mention while I was under here that I extended the shifter just to make it the right length, because apart from having the right throw, it was not quite the right length. It needed to be straightened up to fit through the hole, so that is. Obviously everything under here needs a clean up. But just like any old project car, everything's dirty. It takes time to get everything cleaned up, but we'll get there. So that's pretty much how to throw a Commodore motor in any old car. It's pretty straightforward if you know what you're doing and you know how to use a welder. Sorry, these first couple of videos have been kind of short. I've already done the progress, so I'm just trying to cover it so everyone's up to the point I'm at. In the next video, I'll go over how to wire in your Commodore motor to almost any vehicle, so that's probably going to be a bit more of an exciting video and probably what the people will be here for. So look forward to that, and like and subscribe. Thanks everyone for watching. Little blooper at the end and a testament to how hard this Toyota's life was. Look how rusty these heater hoses are. Oh my god.